Hey parents, welcome to the after parent meeting video recap video. This is going to be kind of a longer video, a little bit abbreviated from the meeting that we had yesterday. To all of you that came out to the meeting, thank you so much. Great conversation, great connecting with other parents and getting to meet some of you. I'm Isaac. I am the middle school minister here, and this is
Laura Overall. I'm also on the middle school team.
awesome. And together we just want to talk all things Misc. And so Laura's going to tell us right now all about Misc.
So we are, as you can see on the screen, bringing 370 students, and we are bringing 60 leaders, which gives us a 1-to-6 ratio, which we are pumped about. We have worked really hard to fill every single bed and clear as many kids off the waiting list as we can. That is now done. We cannot make any more changes. We have gone through today and did the last minute changes that we could, and now we cannot make any more. But why do we do Misc? We do this because we want our students to connect to each other and connect to Jesus. And a few days away from our normal routines really allow for that to happen. It is a great time for community within their groups and to connect with their leaders and just spend time in the Word and learning about Jesus.
Awesome. And with all these leaders, we know that one of the primary concerns is, well, who are these leaders and how do we pick them? So Laura, can you tell us exactly what that goes into?
Yes. Most of our leaders are ones that have already been leading with us or are going to be leading with us in the fall. All of our leaders have been background checked, have had an interview, and the adults have all done ministry safe training to make sure we are keeping our minors all safe. We have a policy that we never allow a student and an adult to be alone. They are always within sight. So even if they need to kind of step away from the big group to have a conversation, we can see them. They are in well-lit areas. They are never by themselves.
Awesome. And we are going to be heading to Country Lake. If you've never been to Country Lake before, it is just north of Henryville, Indiana. I almost said Tennessee. It's way north of Tennessee.
Yes.
They have about 15,000 guests that come through each year and about 6,000 summer campers coming through this little campground thing that you can see, which means they know exactly what they're doing and they know programming and how to operate and manage the lake and how to feed your kids and all of that. They are so good at what they do. It's about a 200-acre plot of land that is just built for fun. It's built for middle schoolers to come in. They're playing basketball. They have soccer fields. They have a big conference area, fire pits that you can see right here. A lot of fun things where students can just feel really comfortable. Because honestly, at camp, sometimes they feel uncomfortable. They feel uncomfortable maybe because this is their first time going away for a longer period of time. Maybe they feel uncomfortable because they're meeting new people. All of this right here, Country Lake is so good at making them feel comfortable. And then paired with Country Lake is CIY, and the theme for this year is broadcast. So CIY is an organization that is so good about teaching teenagers who God is, how to encounter God, and how to make God the priority of their life. With broadcast, our hope is that this year that students will come, they will hear about parables that Jesus is teaching. They'll go through 7 different parables and they will come home saying 3 words. Here's the 3 words that your middle schoolers are going to say: tacos, soap, and goat.
So middle school.
Very middle school for sure. And tacos is all about listening to God. Basically, it's prayer. And so praying comes down to tacos means Thanksgiving. We're going to pray prayers of Thanksgiving, adoration, confession, thank you, others, and self. And so how do we pray for others? How do we pray for ourselves? So tacos will help them remember that. And if they don't remember it, their friend will be like, oh, remember this. It'll be great.
Most of them will conveniently forget C. They don't like the confession part.
Yeah. Why did I forget that? I confess I forgot it. Soap is something that they won't use at camp. We hope that they do, but they will hopefully come home and figure out this is a way to subscribe to God or a way to dig into his word more. And this stands for scripture reading, observation, application, and then prayer. And that goes back into tacos. And so again, these are 2 really good words that help them go, this is how we pray. This is how we read God's word. And then the third thing is all about sharing God. How do I share God with people, my best friends, people on my soccer team, the ones that I see in science class? Like, I really want to share God with them. I just don't know how to. Go out and try. Just try. what's the worst thing that's going to happen? And so as we teach through these parables, here's going to be the three things that they're really going to come home talking about. So if they're talking about tacos and soap and goat, that's a great thing. They are not just like, what happened at camp? All the goats and trying and tacoing and goats eating tacos. Great.
All right, so we want to give you an idea of what a typical day at Misc is going to look like. We will have breakfast, and then they will go, sorry, Isaac is being super distracting.
I'm need to turn off my phone.
So they will, after breakfast, they're going to go to a worship session, and we are all going to be together in the worship center. We are going to have lots of games and high energy, and we will do some worship and then teaching. And then after that, we're going to go out by groups and find a spot to meet all over the campus and connect with one another and get to know students. And then as the days go on, they're really just processing what they've heard in session and what God is putting on their hearts. So that is our favorite time. We love how students get to build relationships in that. And then after group time in the morning, they're going to go to lunch, and then they have free time, and they love free time. It gets lots of energy out. They get to hang with friends and connect, and leaders get to connect with students and have great one-on-one conversations. This is also the time that students are going to do things like the zip line and paintball. If they signed up for some of those, they will have an assigned time slot and day for that, which those schedules will be posted all over camp, and we will be making reminders throughout free time. Mm-hmm. It's also a time to just go play in the lake or in the pool, or play basketball, or go to the snack shack. There is a lot of things they're going to get to do, even if they didn't sign up for some of those extra things. At the end of free time, we let students back into the dorms. They have an option to shower, change, get cleaned up for dinner. They go over to dinner, and then we have our second session of the day. And that is, again, games and worship and teaching. And after that, we go to campus time. We are going with Shelby campus. And so they are going to break off and go debrief and talk as a campus, and so are we. We will do that every night, but what we're going to do is probably keep one grade back for a little longer, and we'll send the other two out to go do group time. That way we're getting to know each of them a little bit. We have a time all together, and then a little bit smaller each night. And then after that, we have Outer Realm or different rec games. And so that is pure chaos, but it is organized chaos because the group leaders are running with them. They are having fun. They've got some kind of challenge to do together. And they're also getting a little bit worn out before we send them back to dorms and to bed. So that is a quick snapshot of the day, a typical day at camp.
Lots of fun.
Yeah.
Go, go, go.
It is go, go, go. They will have time in there for showers. There are times in the morning when they wake up, and at right after free time, and then right before bedtime. That way, because we know we can't get everybody through a shower at one point. So we can give them a few times.
Okay, so at a day of Misc, there's different behaviors. We want to hit you with some of the main things, behavior protocol, if you will.
Yes, so we expect students, they are not allowed to bring drugs, alcohol, tobacco, vapes, or any kind of weapon. Those are a zero tolerance, with the exception of the first night. We are going to talk about it. We're going to let them know, hey, these are not allowed at camp, but we're going to give you a grace night. And so students will have that evening to turn things in that they should not have brought to their leader, and then they'll talk to us about that. We will have a conversation about it and why they brought the things, but we will not send them home. After grace night, moving forward, if we find any of those things, they will be going home. We will be calling you to come and pick them up. The one thing we do not have grace night for is guys in girls' dorms and girls in guys' dorms. That is zero tolerance. They should not be in any dorm that is not their own, but definitely not of the other gender.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that there's people coming from all different backgrounds. And so we want to invite them in, and we understand, hey, if you're here and you have this, don't worry, like turn it in now. But if they refuse to turn it in, then we find it later. Then that grace is not there during that time.
Because we want this to be a safe place for all of our students.
Absolutely. So top 3 rules, these are really easy to apply and to talk about. And we hope that you talk about these 3 rules with your students as well as the other ones, but be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. Pretty straightforward. Don't go be in the lake when you're supposed to be at the main worship center.
Don't worry, we won't let them do that.
Yeah. Don't go to this dorm when you're supposed to be in this dorm. Respect the people. that's super simple. Respect looks like how you treat them physically, how you treat them with your words. Just respect other people, treat them the way that you would want to be treated, and then respect the place. Don't throw bricks through windows. That'd be great. Don't climb trees and break off the limbs. Very simple things of where the adult leaders, we can say, hey, are you respecting the people and are you respecting the place? We hope that you can have this conversation with your student as well as having another conversation with them. What other expectations do you have for your student? You know them better than we know them because they are your student. So what are those conversations that you need to have with them? But if you could please have this conversation with them, that way there's multiple voices all coming and saying the exact same thing. So that's kind of our expectations.
Mhm. And speaking of expectations, we do have an expectation of dress code, and we're going to get into the packing list in just a second, but we want to pause on this part of it so we can talk about swim clothes, as well as just our normal clothes. We expect everyone to be dressed modestly, not wearing tight clothing. For the boys, that means with swimwear, no Speedos, no super tight swim trunks. And for the girls, that means one-piece swimsuits. It means covering of the 3 Bs, belly, bust, and bottom. We want to make sure they are being modest. And then as far as just normal clothing, the 3 Bs are still in effect for our girls. We want to make sure they're wearing comfortable clothing because they're going to be running around a lot. For our boys, that means those tanks with a really deep sleeve cutoffs. We can't wear them. We need normal size sleeve holes. Is that, yes, sleeve holes.
Yep, sleeve holes. That makes sense.
So that is on dress code. That is the expectations. And here is our packing list, which you can see most of that here. Things I want to highlight. We have twin beds on bunks. And so we need them to have a sleeping bag and pillow, or fitted sheet and blanket and a pillow. There is just a bare mattress. So please send that with them. We want them to have their Bibles so they can actual Bible, open it up and be reading God's word as we're studying it. I don't think it's on this list, but it is on the handout that we've attached, a labeled water bottle. Please put their name on it because your student's going to leave it somewhere and we want to be able to get it back to them. That way they're not getting dehydrated. Also on here, we have money for merchandise and snacks. Those are not a must, but if you would like an idea of what is going to be on there and available for them, you can see on the merch side here, there is a lot of things there. You can actually go to CIYMix.com and look for the
that's a nice pen.
for the store if you want to see really what's actually there. But there are keychains and pens from like $2 and $4 all the way up to hoodies that are $45. They do take cards. They also take cash. And then Isaac, what were you doing with the snack?
So on the snack thing, basically we sell turkeys for $25, or they have a bunch of other little options that I couldn't find good pictures for. So just know that they're $1 to $2 each. It's cash only for the snack shack.
Yes.
And so I think slushies, candy, maybe some popcorn, stuff like that. Very easy, like grab and go snack. I would say movie theater style snacks ish. Yeah. Cash only on that though.
Yes. Back on here, I don't think snacks is on here. You are welcome to send snacks with your student. No peanuts though. This is a peanut free facility because we have a lot of students that have peanut allergies and some of them are even airborne allergies. We also don't have on here energy drinks because we do not want you to send those with your student. We welcome the snacks, but please do not send energy drinks. We will actually count that as a donation towards your child's leader if we find them, which I'm sure your leader would appreciate. Deodorant, please, please, please remind your students, put on deodorant. Axe body spray does not count and it does not mix well in a dorm full of smelly students.
I would say don't pack explosives. So Axe body spray, I count that as an explosive.
Yes.
You will have Grace night to get rid of that.
Yes, we should mention that at Grace night.
We should.
I know you can't see it. There is a question mark behind me about technology. So Isaac, will you talk to us about technology?
Absolutely. Technology is one of those things that we talk about day to day, every single day. You guys as parents, you're trying to figure out, okay, my middle schooler, maybe they've had a phone for a few years. Maybe they're still like, Mom, Dad, give me a phone. And it's a constant battle. And so we hear that, we feel that, and we've made a decision this year that for Misc week 2, July 24th through the 27th the Blankenbaker campus, Multi-Nation campus, and Shelby campus have all come to an agreement that we are just going to say no to technology. That means any iPods, gaming systems, phones, they are just not allowed to come with a student to Misc. And I want you to hear my heart on this. Number one, as I kind of said earlier, Country Lake is such a good place to just be uncomfortable because it's so comfortable. And we know that when you get rid of a phone in a middle schooler's life, now they're like, well, I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to say, how to act.
I have to look at
Yeah, like
look
I have
at
to
you,
look.
not hear.
And we get that. This is the perfect place for them to feel uncomfortable because there's so many other things, the blob and all the lake and all the everything that's happening. They will be distracted and go enough. Number two, and this is actually like the most important reason, we want students to look each other in the eye and say, hey, you matter to me. And oftentimes in middle school, we don't communicate that well. I know when I was in middle school, I did not communicate that well to others. And when you put a phone right there,
so much harder.
It's really hard to communicate, hey, you really matter to me. So like, I'm really happy that you guys are watching this meeting right now. And it's something that we're trying to help middle schoolers navigate, especially coming out of COVID.
Yes, we know that your students had only screens to connect with others or be isolated for so long. And so now they need even more practice to put those down and be able to talk to each other face to face. So we're really excited about this opportunity for them.
Yes. And number three, it just makes sense. Phones all the time are stolen. I keep saying phones, gaming systems as well, iPods as well. They're all stolen. People are going into each other's luggage to try to get that technology out because they want it for themselves. There are inappropriate airdrops that happen. There's pictures that they're just taken at the wrong time, and then that's on someone else's phone. And technology, it's just a lot to handle, especially being away at a place where it's built to not really have a lot of technology around it. So it just makes sense. There are questions that are going to happen because of this. And we know those questions. And if you have more questions, feel free to ask us about it. But here's some of the questions. Well, what about pictures? Because all of our phones are built with some of the nicest cameras that have ever been invented right into our phone. We will have the leaders taking pictures because they know that the students will not have their phones. So they will be mindful of that, and they will be taking pictures and then sharing them with you, the parent, after the week is done. And then also, we have professional photographers that are going to be there, and they will be taking pictures as well. What about Bibles? Well, my student reads their Bible using their phone. Great question. We have a list of Bibles that if you scan this QR code right, how is it so hard to point at that? If you scan this QR code right here, this actually brings up a link tree, and it has a whole bunch of links for some of these other Bibles way over there that these are our favorite Bibles, that they are age appropriate for middle school students. We encourage you to purchase one of these Bibles so that they can bring them with them. But if they forget or if they don't have it, we will have Bibles provided at the camp for them to come back. And when they need a Bible, they can just we have a really big rack. They can check it out and read the Bible and then put it back.
Or if they don't have one, they're welcome to just keep it.
Absolutely.
We want them to have access to God's word all the time.
Absolutely. So there's going to be another question of like, well, what if I have to get a hold of my student? We will talk about an emergency line that you can contact later on. If there is an emergency, you have a way to kind of get a hold of them.
Yes.
And we will address that here in a little bit.
We're also really excited because not having phones means they're not going to have access to all the people texting and checking in on them and like posting different things that they're wanting to keep up with. And they're like, oh, there's this whole other world happening. And they're constantly being pulled back and forth. And so even well-meaning parents wanting to know how is their kids going, checking in sometimes pulls their brain back to home. And then they start thinking, oh, maybe I should be homesick, or I wonder what's happening there. I need to respond. And so now they're not looking at what's in front of them. They're thinking about a bunch of other things. And so if you do have some concerns on how your student is doing, let us know ahead of time. We can keep an eye out, and we will definitely let you know if there is a concern or if your student is really struggling.
Absolutely. We're going to shift into rooming. here's what we need to know about rooming. Every single student, they wrote down, here's my rooming preferences. We have at least a person that they wrote down. We want to try to get them to connect with others and to connect with Jesus. We know that students coming in, they want to hang out with their friends. We want them to hang out with their friends. It is a massive puzzle. As you can see, there are 370 students that are coming, and we did our absolute best to try to put rooming and requests together. Also note that we do not have bunk requests. So it's specific, like, hey, I'm going to be on this bottom bunk and you're going to be on this one. We will set up for their group all of these bunks together. Now you go and pick it in those sets of bunks. So it's not extremely specified, but they will be with their group. And all these small groups, they are based off of the living space, and we try to keep them moving with the same group. Again, here's what we have on our heart. We want you to connect with Jesus, and we want you to connect with others. And so we have that as we are thinking through the rooming. I want to talk about the how, because there's a lot of questions that you guys might like ask. How do I check in? What about all of the next things? So
Yes.
Laura is going to cover all of that.
All right, so check-in is Sunday, July 24th, and we are going to mail you the time that we need your student to show up, because we're going to have 3 waves. We are still working out some of those details. If you do not get it in the mail, you can email us and we will get that to you. It will be somewhere between 2:30 and 3:30. There are 3 waves, it's going to be 2:30, 3, and 3:30. They're going to be done by bus, which is done by groups, and rooming. And so we're working hard to make sure that's all together so we can get that to you as soon as possible. If you happen to have 2 students going and they're at 2 different times, you can send them both at the earlier time and we will make sure to take care of them. We are trying to be very mindful of your time and standing in lines, and our students just kind of sitting there bored while they're waiting for the others to get on the bus and loaded and stuff. So we want their start to camp to be awesome. And so that's why we are breaking it up in that way. When you guys arrive on Sunday that afternoon, we are going to be coming in under the portico, which is the main entrance to our main building that's into the atrium. And from there, we're going to direct you. It's going to be very clear where to go. All we need you to do is make it in through those doors. When you check in, you're going to use your phone number, parents, and it should bring your student up. You're going to click the button and it will print out 3 wristbands, 1 for their wrist and then 2 for luggage. So if they've got a bag and then like a little backpack or something they're carrying, they're going to put those on that. I suggest you make sure your bedding is inside a bag of some sort, even if it's a garbage bag, and we can label it. If you happen to need another wristband, you can check your student in 1 more time, but please try to keep it to where you only need the 3. Otherwise, it's a lot of stuff to manage. After that, you all are going to walk with your student to drop off any medications that you have, which we will talk more about that in a second. And then you're going to take them down to the departure lounge after they drop their luggage off. And that is where you say goodbye, and you will see them on the 27th. So they're going to hang there until it's time to load buses, and then they will ride up to Country Lake. So for medical stuff, if your student has prescription meds, we need you to go ahead and fill that out. Or if they've got medicines you know they need to take regularly, even if they're over the counter, we're going to attach to this email a form that has all the step-by-step instructions on how to do that. We need the permissions. If you can do that before check-in day, it's going to save you a lot of time and standing in extra lines. For the medicines, our medical team will have all the normal over-the-counter things like allergy medicines and pain relievers, and even stuff for like upset stomachs and Benadryl and all those things. At registration, you check whether your kid can have these things, and they will look at that. If you have like nighttime gummies, or if you have vitamins or something that you really want to make sure your kid is staying on, include those in what you bring with the prescription meds. Also, please only send what they need in their labeled bottles that they came in.
Yep.
But that way you don't end up missing some meds when they come back. You have what you need at home. If you have life-saving devices like an EpiPen or an inhaler, please send 2 of them if you can. That way your student can keep 1 on them, and the medical team will have 1 with them, just in case your student loses it. I think that is everything for medical.
Yep. Simply put, check in the medicine. They're not allowed to have it in their bag during the week.
No medicine can be on their person or in their bags.
Yep.
Pickup on the 27th. It will happen sometime between 9:30 and 10 o'clock on Wednesday, the 27th. The location is probably going to be Lot A. We will send all of that information out very soon, so you know exactly where to go. And once you have your student and their luggage, you are good to go. We are going to do our best to put life-saving devices and all the extra things back in their luggage. So hopefully there are no medicines that need to be picked up at the end. And I think that is all for that part.
Yep. Yeah.
Great.
I think so.
Let's talk about the fun stuff.
Okay. Here's how to be an MVP parent. So how do you just like knock it out of the park as a parent? First, pray for camp. Literally, we want you to text pray for camp. Pray for camp to 733-733. When you text that, you'll get a little response back that says, hey, you're almost done. Click this link. After you click the link, you will check the Mix 2, July 24th through the 27th, and the Blank and Baker checkboxes.
Yes.
And that will sign you up for all the prayer prompts for camp, and even some little, like if we have major updates, we're just going to send that out.
We'll even text you on that one to let you know when we're headed home, so you know when to come up and pick up your student.
Yes. So praying for camp is phenomenal. What a great way to be an MVP parent is to pray for your son or daughter or grandson or granddaughter or foster kid or whoever it is that you have allowed us to invest in this week. Praying for them and their peers and their leader. What a great way to be an MVP parent. Next is to just kind of stay informed. This is kind of separate from Mix, but these are great ways to stay informed with everything that's happening middle school ministry. So on Instagram, SE_Blanken or BB for Blanken Baker _ students, look that up and hit follow. Or you can go to the parents of MSM and HSM students, Blanken Baker campus on Facebook, and we post in there all the time about just updates that parents would want to know about. And then communication wise, if you want emails or text messages about all things middle school, text MSM to 733-733. Again, it's going to give you that prompt. You click on the link and you say, here's the emails that I want, and here are the here's the text messages that I want. I apologize if a pop-up just happened, but
it'll be fine.
Yeah, it will be great. Next, staying connected. We have 2 summer hangouts that are happening. One this Wednesday, July 13th. That is bounce night. We would love to invite your student from 4 to 6 p.m. out to bounce night. We'll have inflatables here at the block.
We're going to have a really epic obstacle course. Your students are going to love it.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
And then next Wednesday, so 1 week from this Wednesday, is best friend night. And we are encouraging them to invite their best friends out and to be a part of that. Again, 4 to 6 p.m. And we would love to see them there. Here's some key dates after Mix. July 31st, baptism conversations. Whether your student is about to get baptized or got baptized at camp, which we will talk about real briefly right after this, we want to have a conversation with you and your student on the 3rd floor of the block at 9 a.m. on July 31st. This is just a great, hey, what's next? What do we do after this whole thing? What does this whole thing mean? Come and join us at 9 a.m. August 7th, for those of you that have incoming 6th graders, that is a special day for parents and students together to be introduced to all things middle school ministry and the block. And then on August 21st, we have this thing that's called the Great Geburtstag, which is just a German way to say the great birthday. And kids are like, we're celebrating my birthday? Yes, in a way. We want to celebrate all students and their lives and say, hey, your life really matters. This is a key tie-in from the very last session of Mix about inviting their friends to a great feast. And so we want them to invite all of their friends to this on August 21st. And so that's a really big date. That's when we kick off all 6th, 7th, and 8th grade coming back in for fall programming. Next, to be an MVP parent, just be intentional and be an encourager. Being intentional means I'm going to sit down and talk through expectations. Here's what I expect of you. Here's what my hopes are for you while you are at Mix. Being an encourager can look like, hey, I want to take this little card and write Sunday on it and put it in their luggage, and then another one that says Monday on it and put it in their luggage, and they can open it up and read it and be encouraged by you throughout the week. It's really cool to watch them like have these cards. They eat them up.
They love it so much.
And just being an encourager that way. And also it's having a debrief plan. So what does this look like after Mix? Have you already, and I would encourage you to, have you already scheduled a time, maybe it's the Saturday after or 1 week after, to sit down and just say, so tell me about it. What decisions did you make? What did the relationships look like there? What were the things that you struggled with? What were the things that you loved? Let's just talk about it. If you fail to plan this, then kind of plan on failing, because your students want a time, maybe not right away.
Yeah, let them get some sleep first. They're going to need to
sleep.
sleep for like 12 or 15 hours.
Yes.
And then
But
try.
what a great way to encourage them. We're going to have a few quick hitters here, and then we'll be done.
Okay, so baptisms, that is a big part of camp because we present the gospel and who Jesus is and what he's done for us and why we need him. And so we give students who have not made a decision to follow Jesus or to be baptized, we give them an opportunity to do that. And so for the ones who are thinking about that, we get to have conversations with them and make sure they really understand what they're wanting to do and what they're deciding, and make sure they know, they just get it. And then we're going to call you. Actually, we're going to ask students to give you a call and talk to you about this big decision they're wanting to make. We, of course, are going to make sure if they're wanting to get baptized at camp that we have your permission. We are not going to do that without your permission. And we'll talk about if it needs to be at camp or somewhere else at a different time that makes more sense. If they get baptized at camp, we're going to invite you up for that. We want you all to be a part of that. We obviously are so excited to celebrate with them because that is a huge life-changing decision, and we do not want you all to miss it. As the primary disciple makers in their life, we feel like you should be there.
Absolutely.
So that will happen on the last day of camp around 5:30-ish. We will give you all the details of that if that happens and your student is one of them that is making a decision and getting baptized. They will stay though at camp so they can finish out the last session and not miss out on the last few hours of things we have for camp, because it's a big deal. We don't want them to miss on that part. So they'll still ride the buses back home to Blinken Baker, where you'll pick them up that night. And again, we're going to invite them to that baptism conversation on July 31st, and we would love for you to be a part of that. Other things. We don't do mail. If you send letters to the camp, it will not get delivered, but you can, like Isaac said, tuck it into their suitcase, have it in there somewhere for them to find. They're going to love it and be so excited about that. We also in middle school don't decorate bunks, which it would be a little bit harder because you're not dropping them off at the camp. You're taking them to the church and they're riding buses up. So you're not there to help them decorate, but they're going to look around and quickly realize, oh, no one's decorating bunks. So we like to tell you that ahead of time. We do not allow parents to come up and visit camp. As much as we love you guys, we want your students to have undistracted, really focused time at the camp. So we do not allow any visits outside of that baptism time. And they also cannot leave and come back. And then for everything else, if you have an emergency come up or need to get a hold of the staff for some reason, this number on the screen is our emergency line. You can text it or call it, and we will get back to you very quickly. And I think those are all the quick hitter things. We have one more ask of you parents.
Please help us, please. We need help. And this is the best way is for you to scan this right here. And as you are scanning, this is what we need help with. We need check-in help on July 24th from that 2 to 4-ish. It will have all the specifications and details in this link if you scan it. And then we need help tearing down. There's a lot of people that help set it up, but then a lot of those people go off to camp. So we really need help tearing that down and resetting up the church that takes care of us so well. And then we need help driving all the luggage up there. So we need 4 people to drive it up and 4 people to drive it back. And so we need help with that. And then we also need help with unloading on the 27th. We just need some patient people that can show up to the church at 8:45 p.m. and just sit and wait. Because the moment that the box trucks come, it's go, go, go. And it's helping unload
the luggage.
Yes. And so if you can help with that, please scan and sign up using it here. We'll move
pause
one more
this.
time.
Yeah, pause this here and scan it.
Okay, perfect.
Please sign up. Let us know you can help. We would love to have your help. This is a great way to support us and your students going to camp.
If you guys have any questions, we can't give you answers right here, but you can email us and we will do our best to try to answer you via email. Thank you guys so much. We are super excited for Mix. We are super excited to see what God and the power of his spirit will do and how he will move this July 24th through the 27th. Again, we appreciate you guys a ton. Thank you so much.
See you soon.